Welcome to the HFY Tales channel. Remember to like and subscribe if you like the story. Enjoy and take care.
The neon lights of Luminous City flickered against the twilight, casting a kaleidoscope of colors across the bustling streets filled with humans and aliens alike. Hovering carts filled with exotic foods and wares lined the sidewalks, enticing passers-by with aromas from galaxies away. Among the throng, a young woman named Lena pushed through the crowd, her heart racing with excitement and curiosity. Today was the day she would finally meet a Cuddly. Cuddly creatures were renowned throughout the cosmos for their soft fur and soothing presence. They were beloved companions, famed for their empathetic abilities, and often described as living emotionally driven cuddly toys for both children and adults. Lena had admired them from afar in holographic advertisements, captivated by their charm and warmth. However, there was a problem. Her sister, Jenny, had been pestering her to buy one for herself as some sort of live pet, rather than adopting it as just a toy. Throw caution to the wind, Lena. You must feel the joy of owning a Cuddly, Jenny had insisted over breakfast, her eyes gleaming with excitement. Lena, not fully convinced, found her sister's enthusiasm contagious enough to finally heed her words. As she pushed open the door to Cuddly Comforts, the shop nestled snugly between a bustling cafe and a vendor selling energy crystals. A tiny bell jingled overhead, announcing her arrival. The interior was adorned with plush displays and colorful posters featuring various Cuddly species, their bright eyes twinkling with friendly allure. "Welcome," a cheerful voice chirped from behind the counter. A purple-skinned alien with multicolored tentacles waved at her enthusiastically. "I'm Zara, and I can help you find your perfect Cuddly." Lena felt a mix of nerves and excitement. "I'm looking for a Cuddly. Just a small one." "Ah, wise choice. Come, let me show you my favorites." Zara guided Lena to the back of the shop, where a soft glow illuminated a cozy enclosure filled with Cuddlies of all shapes and sizes, each one nuzzling against blankets, purring gently or playfully tumbling over one another. As Lena approached, a male Cuddly caught her eye. He was slightly larger than the rest, with soft gray fur sprinkled with speckles of silver. His enormous, expressive eyes locked onto hers, radiating an inexplicable warmth. There was an immediate connection. She felt her heart ache, not with sadness, but with an overwhelming sense of belonging. "His name is Nuru," Zara explained. "He's got a keen intuition and is quite the cuddler. Many find him to be exceptionally comforting." Nuru took a step closer, tilting his head as if to understand her better. The rest of the world around Lena faded away, and for a moment, she couldn't help but reach out and stroke the softness of his fur. A delightful tingle raced through her fingertips and upper arm, as though Nuru was somehow responding to her touch. At that moment, it didn't matter if she was buying a toy or not. She felt she had stumbled into something much deeper. Overwhelmed but unable to resist, she turned to Zara. "I'll take him." Little did Lena know, this decision would change her life forever, as she unknowingly brought Nuru into her world right at the start of his mating season. As Lena carried Nuru home, his gentle purring filled her heart with warmth. The late afternoon sun filtered through the city's towering structures, illuminating his gray fur and creating an almost ethereal glow. With each step, she became more convinced that getting a Cuddly was the best decision she had ever made. Once inside her apartment, she set Nuru down on the soft rug in her living room. He unfurled, stretching out with a languid grace as he surveyed his new surroundings. Lena found herself smiling at his playful nature, an adorable creature, full of life and potential. As she settled onto the couch, Nuru trotted over and lay down next to her, snuggling into her side. A warm pulse radiated from him, almost like a heartbeat, and an unexpected rush of emotions blossomed within her: comfort, joy, and a sense of belonging. She absent-mindedly reached out to scratch behind his ears, feeling those soft, velvety tufts of fur beneath her fingertips. "Guess you're my Cuddly toy now," she murmured aloud, giggling softly. Nuru's eyes sparkled in amusement as he rolled onto his back, inviting more attention. Moments later, Lena's phone chimed, pulling her from the blissful interlude. It was a text from Jenny. "Did you get it? How is it? Is it as cute as I imagined?" Lena replied with a quick photo of Nuru, showcasing his goofy yet endearing expression. Almost instantaneously, Jenny responded with a string of excited emojis and a message urging her to bring Nuru over for a meet and greet the following day. As the evening wore on, Lena and Nuru spent their time getting to know each other. She discovered how he reacted to different sounds and movements, watching as he darted after a laser pointer, and became enthralled by a flickering holographic toy. Each new interaction deepened their bond, and the air hummed with an exhilarating energy. Later, as they curled up on the couch together, Lena suddenly felt a wave of drowsiness wash over her. Nuru nestled closer, purring rhythmically, and she allowed herself to drift into a peaceful slumber, comforted by the presence of her new companion. Underscore 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 underscore. When morning light filtered through her window, Lena awoke to an unexpected sensation. Nuru was licking her cheek, his warm breath tickling her skin. Startled, she giggled, prompting him to stop, and tilted his head in confusion. "What are you doing, cutie?" she laughed, then stifled a yawn. Rubbing her eyes, she could still feel the softness of his fur imprinted on her skin. As she rose from the couch, realizing she had missed breakfast, her stomach growled audibly. "All right, Nuru, let's get some breakfast. You must be hungry too." She rummaged through her fridge, ultimately deciding on some fruits and yogurt, also setting aside a few snacks for Nuru she had picked up during her shopping spree. As she prepared the food, she couldn't shake a peculiar moment from last night, a fleeting feeling of something deeper between her and Nuru. After breakfast, Lena decided to take Nuru for a walk in the nearby park. It was littered with families and other cuddly owners, laughter and excitement filling the air. Nuru seemed to thrive in this environment, bounding ahead of Lena, his energy infectious. As they reached the park, families greeted them, smiling down at Nuru with delight. A little girl ran up, her eyes sparkling with excitement. "Can I pet him?" she squealed. "Of course," Lena replied, watching as Nuru easily accepted her affection, leaning into the girl's touch with a happy purr. There was something magical about how even strangers were drawn to him. This bond seemed to transcend language, culture, and species. As the day unfolded, Nuru's presence seemed to draw people closer, forging connections in ways Lena had never experienced before. However, she noticed subtle changes in him, moments where his playful demeanor flickered into something more serious, almost contemplative. That evening, amidst their familiar routine of cuddling on the couch, Lena began to feel an unexpected stir of uncertainty. Nuru's occasional moments of intensity, his penetrating gaze or lingering purrs, hinted at something unknown. She recalled Zar's musings about empathic connections among Cuddlies and their complex nature, soon piecing together the peculiarities of his behavior. Was something unusual happening? Lena leaned back against the couch, watching Nuru lie before her. A sudden flutter of apprehension gripped her heart. "What are you feeling, Nuru?" She thought about how she felt for him. The bond they had formed felt impossibly profound, but could there be something more? As if sensing her unease, Nuru glanced up, resting his head on her lap, calming the storm of thoughts in her mind. Lena reached down to stroke his fur, feeling the tension melt away. Despite her worries, an undeniable connection was blossoming between them. Yet, the groom's intuition lay silent in her heart, buried beneath an ever-so-burgeoning sense of anticipation, a foreboding that hinted at the mysteries of Nuru's world soon spilling into her own. The following days passed in a blissful haze. Lena and Nuru settled into a comfortable rhythm. Morning walks in the park, lazy afternoons filled with cuddles, and evenings spent exploring an array of holographic entertainment together. However, as the days turned to weeks, a subtle shift began to ripple through the air, one that wasn't lost on Lena. Nuru had become increasingly affectionate, often seeking her out for closeness, more so than usual. He now hovered around her during meals, leaning heavily against her legs, his purring escalating to a gentle hum that resonated deep within her chest. On some nights, as they snuggled up on the couch, Lena noticed how Nuru would gaze at her with longing, a spark of something deep flickering in his eyes. But it wasn't just the heightened affection Lena noticed. There were changes in him that felt inexplicably urgent. Some instinct inside her told her it was related to his impending mating season. Memories of Zara's warning flickered in her mind like a distant star, illuminating the fears she tried to push away. "Nuru, what's going on with you?" she whispered one quiet night, brushing her fingers through his fur as she sensed the subtle shifts. His deep gaze met hers, the warmth radiating through her amplified by the intensity of his presence. Just then, the sound of the doorbell jolted her from the moment. Tracing her fingers over Nuru one last time, Lena stood up, not entirely ready to break the connection that blossomed between them, and opened the door to find her sister beaming like the sun. "Lena, I'm so glad to see you and Nuru," Jenny exclaimed, bursting through the door, carrying a large bag filled with treats. "I've brought goodies for both of you." Lena forced a smile, trying to shake the lingering emotions from moments before. She gestured for Jenny to enter the living room, where Nuru quickly made his way to investigate the bag with curiosity, sniffing and nudging at it with enthusiasm. "Look at him." Jenny laughed. "He already knows what's inside. I grabbed the best snacks for Cuddly's. He'll love it." Lena chuckled, though unease settled over her once again. "Yeah, he definitely has a nose for sweet things." Something in her tone caught Jenny's attention, and her expression shifted to concern. "Lena, you've been a bit off lately. Is everything all right with you too?" Jenny inquired, glancing between her sister and Nuru, who had found his prize, a treat nestled in the bag. "Just different, I guess. Nuru's more affectionate than ever," Lena replied cautiously, reluctant to delve into the inexplicable feelings bubbling beneath the surface. With the snacks devoured, the three settled into relaxed conversation in the warm coziness of the apartment. Laughter filled the room, lightening the mood, but every now and then, Lena found herself looking at Nuru, feeling an undercurrent of unease, the weight of unexplained connections and unspoken questions. Later that evening, Lena and Jenny snuggled on the couch, Nuru sprawled out comfortably between them. Flickers of playful holographic entertainment danced across the walls as Jenny and Lena traded teasing accusations of who could find the funniest clips. As the sun set and shadows grew, Lena's playful heart swelled, but simultaneously, a tension brewed beneath the surface. Every time Nuru glanced in her direction, there was a closeness that sent shivers up her spine. "Okay, so what's on your mind, Lena?" Jenny asked, catching her staring at Nuru. "You look like you have a secret." "Me? A secret?" She chuckled nervously, avoiding the probing gaze from her sister. What could possibly be secretive about me owning an adorable Cuddly? "Seriously," Jenny pressed on, her eyes bright with mischief. "Tell me, do you think he has a crush on you?" "Don't be silly," Lena said, laughing half-heartedly, but Jenny continued to pry. "I mean, you know Cuddlies have that whole bonding thing," Jenny said. "Does he seem a bit more possessive than you expected?" At that, Lena's heart raced. Was there a possessive energy between her and Nuru? I mean, I guess he's been a little clingy, but he's a Cuddly. Cuddly or not, something's happening. You should ask Zara or some other expert. Something tells me it might be more than just Cuddly feelings," Jenny suggested, smirking. As Lena felt the weight of her sister's words, her gut churned with uncertainty. There was a difference between companionship and something deeper, but she wasn't sure where the line was drawn, if there even was one. Later that night, as Lena and Nuru curled up to sleep, the tension from earlier seeped back in, amplified by the hushed quiet of her apartment. Nuru nestled close, his warm breath against her skin producing an exhilarating but anxious thrill. A piercing thought lingered in the back of her mind as she drifted off. Did Nuru recognize the intentions of the mating season? What did it mean for them, if anything at all? Days turned into a week, and the tension between Lena and Nuru grew palpable. Despite their happy routine, a sense of urgency began to hang over her like a charged storm cloud, looming unseen. Nuru continued to exhibit peculiar behavior, his purring more pronounced, his glances more pronounced and intense. Every playful roll and nuzzle began to feel loaded with meaning, urging Lena to confront the unspoken bond they shared. Lena had to know. The lingering questions haunted her. Was Nuru's closeness a mere reflection of his affection or a prelude to something more primal? She made up her mind to visit Zara at Cuddly Comforts. "Lena, you look like you've seen a ghost," Zara exclaimed, her eyes bright with curiosity as soon as Lena entered the shop, jangling the doorbell. "What brings you back so soon? Is it Nuru? Is he sick?" No. Lena hurried to reassure her, waving her hands anxiously. "It's just that he's been different lately, and I need to understand what's happening." "Ah, I see." Zara nodded knowingly before leading Lena to the back of the shop. It's mating season for cuddly creatures, and emotions can run very high during this time. Zara motioned for Lena to sit, her expression turning serious. "You need to know that cuddlies have a strong sense of connection with their companions, and they often bond in ways that are acute and sometimes unexpected." "Unexpected?" Lena echoed, her heart pounding. "How so?" "Cuddlies express their bond through emotional cues, but it transcends mere affection. There's an instinctive drive to connect during mating season, and if they perceive a true match with their human partner, they may seek to establish a deeper connection," Zara explained. "It can sometimes stir feelings that you may not fully comprehend on your own." A flicker of panic coursed through Lena. "Are you saying he wants to mate with me?" Zara nodded, a slight smile on her face. "In their nature, cuddlies are very intuitive. If Nuru has formed a bond with you, and you reciprocate that feeling, well, he will likely see you as someone worth connecting with during this time. The term cuddly is more than just a name, you know." Fear and intrigue tangled within Lena. The idea of a bond that went beyond companionship left her both exhilarated and terrified. "What do I do?" she asked, her voice barely above a whisper. Zara leaned closer. "Listen to your feelings, Lena. Embrace the connection. Understand that emotions can be woven between species, and sometimes love takes forms we do not expect. Also, don't fear setting boundaries if you need to. Just be honest with Nuru about your feelings." I think I need some time to process," Lena replied, her heart racing with conflicting emotions. As she left the shop, her thoughts wrestled with excitement and dread, leaving her eager to return home, yet fearful of what awaited her there. Once she stepped through the door, Lena was immediately met with Nuru's excited purrs. He bounded towards her, his expression bright with enthusiasm. She knelt down, running her fingers through his fur, seeking solace in their bond. Yet apprehension twisted in her gut. Sitting on the couch, she took a moment to catch her breath, then turned to Nuru. "I need to talk to you, buddy," she said softly, her voice wavering slightly as she watched him intently. Nuru looked back at her, tilting his head and emitting soft, questioning sounds. "I know something's changing between us, and I'm not sure how to handle it," Lena continued, her heart racing. "Zara says you might want to form a deeper bond during this mating season. I need to know where we stand." Nuru moved closer, his eyes locking onto hers. He seemed to absorb her words, his purring intensifying, almost resonating with the emotions swirling around her. She felt a warmth radiate from him, an understanding as if the walls she placed around her heart were slowly crumbling. "Is this real? Are you feeling more than just cuddles?" she asked, her words tinged with anxiety and vulnerability. Nuru leaned into her hand, pressing against her palm with an undeniable earnestness. It felt as if he was responding to her innermost thoughts, fueling the growing energy between them. As she stroked his fur, Lena's heart began to swell with emotions she had kept at bay. The desire to embrace the possibility of their unusual connection warmed her heart. Suddenly, Nuru shifted closer, nuzzling against her neck, and Lena felt a ripple of electricity course through her body. Every instinct told her to pull away, yet every fiber of her being urged her to lean into him, to explore what this bond meant. The mixture of uncertainty and excitement pushed her towards a precipice. Should she leap? Just then, Nuru unleashed a series of soft yet urgent chirps that echoed through the apartment, sounds she hadn't heard from him before. The air shifted, her heart tightened, signaling a profound change that was about to unfold. Taking a deep breath, she whispered, "All right, let's take this step together." In that moment, Lena made a choice to embrace the unknown. Nuru's purring enveloped her, wrapping her in an embrace that transcended species, igniting her spirit and cementing the bond they shared. They would face whatever came next together, as boundless curiosity gripped her heart. The days that followed marked a palpable shift in Lena and Nuru's relationship. Lena could no longer dismiss the deeper emotions unfolding between them, nor did she wish to. Each morning, the world outside her window softened in breathtaking hues, and with every dawn's light, she found herself more enraptured by Nuru's presence. However, the weight of mating season loomed like a shadow, ever present, an entity neither of them could ignore. Nuru began exhibiting more overt behaviors, redoubling his affection, seeking her out for deeper cuddles, and at times, seeming almost restless. He purred like a lullaby, laced with a sense of urgency that Lena hadn't quite deciphered. One evening, Lena returned home from a visit to a nearby art gallery, excitement dancing in her steps. Clutching an artwork depicting ethereal landscapes of alien worlds, she hoped to share it with Nuru. Yet, upon entering her apartment, she noticed he was in a peculiar state, a frenzy of energy, pacing anxiously around the living room, his eyes wide and intense. "Nuru, what's wrong?" she called out, her heart racing as she dropped the artwork on the table. As if her voice reached him, he paused, turning sharply to face her. Lena felt as if she could read the whirlwind of emotions contained within those captivating eyes. Something primal contended beneath the surface. He bounded towards her, almost stumbling with excitement, bumping against her legs as he purred loudly. It was different this time. He seemed to be searching for something in her, a validation, a connection that was deeper than mere companionship. "Hey there, buddy. Let's calm down," she said, sinking to the floor to meet him at eye level. She reached out, brushing her fingers against his fur. A tranquil warmth radiated from her hand, soothing both his energy and her racing heart. "What's gotten into you?" As Nuru settled beside her, resting his head against her thigh, Lena's heart swelled with affection and tension. It was then she sensed the undercurrent of urgency radiating from him. She closed her eyes and felt that pulse, a call to explore the bond that was drawn between them like a constellation of stars. "Please, just tell me what you need, Nuru," she whispered, wishing she could comprehend the complexity of his emotions just as he seemed to sense hers. In response to her words, Nuru shifted closer, wrapping himself around her legs and curling up to gaze into her eyes with a melted, soft expression. Lena felt a rush of warmth enveloping her, a combination of tenderness and a flickering intensity. Suddenly, she caught herself wondering what it would mean to truly embrace this bond, to cross that line into something more profound. The thought sent a shiver down her spine, a mixture of fear and excitement. The potential for something more was so enticing, yet fraught with uncertainty. Over the next few days, the pattern continued. Nuru oscillated between moments of restlessness and intense closeness, always seeking her out, always inviting her into a world of emotional connection. Lena, entranced by the deepening bond, felt as if she were dancing along the edge of a precipice, unsure if she could lean forward into the inevitable plunge. It was one night, under the soft glow of their ambient lights, that Lena decided to confront her feelings. With Nuru curled at her feet, she pulled out a journal and began writing down her thoughts and fears. Words poured out in a relatable rhythm, detailing the beauty and complexity of their relationship. "I feel this bond with you, Nuru, that transcends the words I can express. It feels special, but I'm scared." She tapped her pen against her chin thoughtfully, continuing to write. "What does it mean for us? Am I ready for what lies ahead?" As she scribbled away, Nuru shifted closer, pressing against her side, nuzzling her shoulder and enveloping her with warmth. The urge to pull away wrestled with the desire to lean into him. In that moment, she felt the walls around her heart begin to crack. "I think I want this," she whispered softly, letting Nuru's comforting presence wash over her. "I want to see where this connection takes us." Suddenly, a ripple of energy surged between them, and Nuru began to softly chirp, weaving his body around hers in an almost ceremonial dance. Lena gently laughed, her heart racing in response to the magnetic pull of their connection. Then, just as quickly, Nuru stiffened. He pulled back slightly, positioning himself to look her straight in the eyes, almost drawing her into a trance. In that moment, Lena felt a revelation wash over her. He needed her to embrace this bond as much as she wanted to pursue it. "Nuru, are you telling me this bond means something?" she asked, her voice barely above a whisper. The air between them seemed to hum with an electric energy, igniting a spark in her soul. Nuru leaned closer, pressing his forehead against hers, creating an intimate fusion of warmth and affection. Lena's heart raced as she surrendered to the intimacy, entwining her fingers through his fur. The act was both grounding and uplifting, pulling them into an uncharted territory of emotions. Tears of joy welled up in her eyes as realization dawned. This connection had weight, fervor, and purpose. They were not merely navigating an emotional sea. They were discovering a truth that resonated deeply within both of them. "Okay," she murmured softly. "I'm ready to explore this together. Let's see what lies beyond." As Lena leaned into Nuru, allowing herself to embrace the connection wholeheartedly, the air thickened with an understanding. In that charged moment, the line between companionship and something profound blurred, and they both began to unravel the complex tapestry of their unusual bond. The days following Lena's commitment to embrace the bond with Nuru blossomed into a flurry of discovery. The energy between them transformed, filling the apartment with an electric pulse of emotions, heightening the awareness of what their connection could truly become. They navigated this newfound intimacy with a blend of playfulness and gravity, both of them forging paths they never anticipated. Lena reveled in Nuru's ever-present affection, his gentle nuzzles and soft purrs intertwining with her heartbeat, creating an orchestra of understanding. Yet there remained an undercurrent of urgency. As mating season neared its peak, Lena sensed a deeper calling from Nuru, one that drew them both forward into uncharted waters. One evening, the air shimmered with anticipation as they lounged in their cozy space, the ambient lights giving the room a warm glow. Nuru patted over, and for the first time, Lena noticed the unmistakable spark of desire kindling in his eyes. "Is it time?" Lena asked, her voice a whisper tinged with both exhilaration and trepidation. Nuru gazed back at her, an almost magnetic pull emanating from him as he edged closer, the weight of the moment sparking an array of emotions. In response to her words, he curled up against her side, purring softly, his vibrations resonating with her body. The air was thick with promise, and they both felt it. The inevitable climax of their connection was on the horizon. Lena took a deep breath, her heart pounding as she focused on that spark, willing herself to embrace the wild beauty of their bond. With a deliberation that felt both surreal and exhilarating, Lena decided they would enter this next step together. Leaning closer, she pressed her forehead against Nuru's, feeling the warmth radiate between them. "Let's experience this," she whispered. "Let's see what we can become together." Nuru chirped softly, as though in agreement, his eyes reflecting something profound and eternal. Positioned together as one, Lena felt their energies entwining, the connection morphing into a tapestry of warmth and fervor, overwhelming her senses. Suddenly, Nuru shifted, moving to circle her waist with a slow, deliberate grace. He glanced up at her, the warmth in his eyes igniting a spark deep within her soul. It was almost as if he was inviting her to take a leap, an unknown that promised to shatter the barriers of their existence and transform them irrevocably. With a calculated tenderness, Lena leaned in closer, tracing a finger gently along his back. In that moment, every fear she had melted away, replaced by the allure of what this bond could be. She closed her eyes, surrendering herself to the swirling emotions, compassion, excitement, and a foreign depth she had never known. As their connection intensified, Lena sensed a swirling energy around them, a melding of impulses that became a shared language of trust and exploration. Nuru's purr grew closer to a hum, resonating through her body, awakening emotions she had long buried. The air crackled with the essence of their bond, surrounding them in a cocoon of warmth. With the energy building, Lena felt a shift in Nuru's form, as he began to pulsate with waves of affection, an echo of ancient rituals coursing between them. It was a signal, a shared understanding that transcended barriers. In that moment, Lena lost herself in the depths of Nuru's gaze, feeling the potential of their union radiate through her very being. "Together," she murmured, her heart thrumming in rhythm with his. Then, Nuru nestled closer, enveloping her in warmth. Lena cradled him as the reality of their intertwining paths unfurled. She could feel a shift, a connection much deeper than she had ever imagined. Her breath caught as sensations crashed over her in waves. Every caress sparked an electric surge of emotion, intertwining their unique identities into something profound. Their journey together unfolded, a dance of vulnerability and acceptance, exploring the depths of their bond as they embraced everything it had to offer. Lena felt waves of joy flood through her, as if she were transforming, shedding layers of her former self. The boundaries that had separated human from Cuddly began to dissolve, replaced by an exhilarating sense of unity. In those beautiful moments, wrapped in trust and admiration, they discovered new truths about love, forging ahead into realms unknown. What began as a companionship blossomed into an organic sharing of souls, an intimate tether woven through understanding, laughter, and joy. As the night wore on, they became one, a symphony of emotion echoing in the stillness, forever leaving behind the confines of what they had known. Lena embraced the truth that their bond was a testament to the complexities of love, transcending the limitations of their origins. The morning sun filtered through the window, painting the room in warm hues as Lena and Nuru lay entwined, peaceful and content. Lena marveled at the transformation their love had sparked. Though they were different in form, the essence of their connection, rooted in empathy, trust, and understanding, created a bond that resonated with all creatures, both human and alien. With a newfound determination, Lena smiled down at Nuru, her heart overflowing with gratitude. "Together forever," she whispered, sealing the promise in her heart. In the ever-expansive universe, they learned that love has no bounds. It is a journey that knows no end. And as they embraced their unique connection and ventured forth, they found joy in the unfolding path before them, one woven by the threads of compassion and unity, illuminating the infinite possibilities of love.